Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank, where I climb the online Series 20 ladder, 20 Series 10 ladder, and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a really fun team featuring Kyurem-W, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today, and yeah, let's just get into it. Details are in the description below, and thanks so much as always for watching. First game of the day, and it's a very classic Zacian composition here. So, against Zacian, it's probably a Lecky, Entei. So Kyurem's really interesting here because it's amazing against everything else that's not Zacian, but it's incredibly weak into Zacian, right? And if I'm my opponent, you could totally lead like Fake Out plus Zacian. So Entei's going to be really good to counter that. Ninetales is interesting because I can protect with it turn 1. And it sets up the Hail. But I guess, how important is the Hail in this game? I'm not sure Blizzard's even that valuable for us. The main thing is, if I lead Lecky plus Entei, my opponent can fake out the Lecky and double up onto it with Zacian. I don't really love Urshifu. Ferrothorn's always interesting here, especially because I can switch in on fake out. I just don't want to rely on Quick Claw, right? I feel like, I don't know, Ninetales, it's still decent offensively. Okay, I'm going to go Ninetales Entei, Lecky plus Kyurem. I guess one other lead that's actually really strong for my opponent is Landorus plus Zacian. So I didn't really consider that option, but we'll see how things play out. This team is just really fun. We've actually had a quite a nice win streak with it as well, but generally it just has some really wild sets that I never thought I'd use in Series 10, like Quick Claw Ferrothorn or Safety Goggles Urshifu or Sheer Cold Ninetales. So we'll see if we get any mileage out of those specific moves today, but I appreciate you all as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, I'm curious what you're currently trying out at Series 10, in Series 10 at the moment. It is early, so I'm jumbling up all my words. Okay, so they go with Fake Out plus Zacian, which was what I was expecting. And Instant as the Fake Out user makes more sense, right? Because Rillaboom is so weak into so much of the team. Turn 1 is interesting. If I'm my opponent, I would actually contemplate protecting Zacian and then parting shotting into Entei. We could read into that. Kind of good, middle of the ground play is, Sacred Fire into this. Honestly, Sheer Cold here is very interesting because it's a 30% chance to just eliminate it, especially if I'm expecting Parting Shot and Protect turn 1. I'm kind of down to go for it here. If they fake out into Ninetales, that's fine, right? Yep, there's Protect. Okay, I mean, this was the best time to go for a Sheer Cold, so... Okay, unfortunately we missed. I could have gone for Moonblast plus Stone Edge, but then it doesn't cover for the option of them clicking Fake Out there, right? Oh, it's actually Roar. Okay. So that makes sense. It's a nice way to get me to switch out immediately, and Kyurem gets dragged out here. That is interesting. Maybe I should have just gone for the safe Moonblast Stone Edge, but I just wanted to respect the option of... Oh, and they're also Goggles. Okay, good to confirm that. So no Berry, which means it'll be a little bit easier to knock out. Now, unfortunately, Roar actually brought out the Kyurem. Kyurem protecting here is so obvious. I think I still need to go for it, though. Or actually, I should say I should go for the switch here into Entei. They might just go for a fighting type attack into that slot, though. So, I don't know. I actually lean towards Protect here, and... going for Sheer Cold again, honestly, might be worth it. I'm down to try it out here. Sheer Cold's accuracy obviously isn't amazing, but the odds of you actually hitting 1 of 2 is not terrible. It's basically like getting a Rock Slide flinch. Okay, so they do Blade into the Ninetales here, which is a good play on their end. Albeit very risky, actually. But I'm fine if Ninetales goes down, because it would give me a free switch into a Lecky, which is what I'm looking for. Ninetales hits the Sheer Cold. The odds of connecting on Sheer Cold is 30%, right? And so the odds of you not connecting is 70%. So when you use Sheer Cold twice, it's a 49% chance to not get either, right? So the odds actually aren't terrible. But that's obviously incredible, right? This is the point of running Sheer Cold on Ninetales. It's it turns something that... literally, I would never be able to do anything against Zacian. But here, now with that, I'm actually able to, which is huge. So let's see. We know there's Safety Goggles. What do they have in the back? Landorus, which is slightly scary. There's not much that can one-shot this, right? They had Urshifu as well. Lando can't one-shot us, so I think going into a Lecky here is fine. But I'm glad we could finally feature the Sheer Cold at least in one game. Yeah, they bring out Lando. Okay. So what do I want to do against that? I've got Blizzard, obviously. What do I think my opponent's last one is going to be? Urshifu for sure, right? Now, if it's Urshifu, you could Earth Power into this. But then I would just knock you out, and then I have... Oh, it depends on if you're Water Urshifu or not, right? I think the play I should make here is Blizzard and Volt Switch into the Instant slot. I could see Landorus protecting here. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is free damage, and I get Entei in relatively safely. You would think it's a parting shot from the Incin onto the Kyurem slot. Like, the main issue here is that my Kyurem's just going to get destroyed by a potential Urshifu close combat in the back. So if they, for some reason they didn't bring Urshifu as their fourth, then we're in fantastic shape. I also, once again, could have made the read there and gone for an Earth Power, but didn't really feel like that was necessary right now. Decent damage from Blizzard. As we said, they're Goggles. Yeah, there's Parting Shot now. Because the problem is I can't beat Landorus very easily with Entei and Alecki right now. So I'm expecting to see Urshifu out now for my opponent. I mean, if Urshifu is out, you can just Earth Power and close combat, right? Okay, it's Dark Urshifu, it's not Water Urshifu. Focus Sash is broken here. I don't know how speedy they are is the other part of the problem for us right now. Yeah, -1 doesn't really matter. It's whether or not I faint to a close combat, and I'm pretty sure I do. So then it's a question of how fast your Urshifu is. If you're max speed, you should outspeed us. You could also Sucker Punch Earth Power here. I mean, you know I have Blizzard, so you're definitely going to aggressively target this down. Got Sacred Fire. I think I stay in with both here. I am just going to Blizzard and Sacred Fire into Landorus because Alecki's not beating Landorus. Okay, so there's Earth Power. They target the Entei, which makes me think they're confident in outspeeding with Urshifu here. But they don't. Okay. Nice. That should win us the game then. Because Kyurem's 95, right? And Urshifu's 97. And they close combat. No, it's still fine. I was going to say I took a slight risk because I could miss Sacred Fire here, which is actually kind of scary. But even if I miss, I can E-Speed because it's higher priority than Sucker Punch. And Sacred Fire connects. Okay, nice. We didn't miss any of the attacks here. Yeah, I mean, obviously we missed the turn 1 Sheer Cold, but Sheer Cold's such a high variance attack. Also, earlier when I compared it to Rock Slide, like getting a flinch, with Rock Slide, you do have 90% accuracy each time you use Rock Slide. So it's actually like you have to connect on Rock Slide and then hope for a flinch on one of the two. Whereas with Sheer Cold, it's just a 30% chance outright. So it's the same odds if Rock Slide, if you're assuming both of them connect, basically. But I wasn't factoring in accuracy earlier. Okay. Yeah, we can just Electro Ball here. No need to risk a miss, and E-Speed. And Instant without having recovery here. Yeah, can't really do very much. So, yeah, this was just the demonstration of why Sheer Cold's on the team. Like, you could very easily run Aurora Veil, but as I mentioned in the last episode, it is somewhat of a... Like, the team is relatively frail, and, like, that bulk, honestly, often won't go that long. Like, it won't help you out that much, right? So, by having Sheer Cold, it just turns matchups that are completely unwinnable, or, going up against Pokemon that are completely unwinnable, and gives you a chance, right? And even 30% chance in itself, even if you just go for it once, like, that's not terrible, right? We've seen how often Rock Slide can flinch, and that's the same odds. So, yeah, like, it's a really interesting move. It's not one that's very consistent, but in 2010, actually, the Japanese national champion ran Suicune with Sheer Cold that year. The other thing is, like, Sheer Cold here is on a Pokemon that, it's just a good kind of filler move. And 2, Ninetales is Focus Sash, meaning that it will basically give you an out against potentially anything that you run into. So it's not a move that you want to rely on, but in that position, like, we didn't really have anything better to go for. Like, we could Moonblast the Incin, but it's just like the risk versus reward is so good if we hit the Zacian in that slot, right? So, yeah. Anyway, it's going to be a Zekrom for this one. Okay. So generally, I'd say Kyurem matches well into Zekrom, but the rest of the team is rather scary. Yeah, I didn't realize just how scary Landorus was in that last matchup either, so that's a big thing to worry about. I don't think we can really afford to bring in Ferrothorn with 2 fire types. If I'm my opponent, I'm going... Like, I think Entei is the most important Pokemon for us here. Because of its matchup into Volk and Incin. It completely walls those. So it's Kyurem, Ninetales, Entei for sure. I just don't know in what order yet, and then trying to figure out what the fourth should be. Urshifu's pretty interesting, just because it's so bulky. Alecki does give me Electro Web, but I don't like how it faces against Landorus specifically. I'm down for Ninetales and Entei. I actually think this is a really solid lead with Kyurem and Urshifu in the back. I think the main question I'm debating in team preview is whether or not I want Urshifu, rather than like Ferrothorn or Alecki. I just don't think I can bring Ferro. Just doesn't do enough. You could make a decent argument for Alecki, but it doesn't do much damage into my opponent's restricted Pokemon, and Landorus completely walls it. So, for that reason, I don't think I want either. But, yeah, good job, Ninetales. Like, I think part of the thing is that this team has a lot of fun sets, but in the last one, we didn't really utilize most of these sets, right? We did have to rely on a Zap Cannon to win, what was it, Game 4 of the last one? But that's the thing, right? Even though there's some very high variance components to this team, you basically, like, the proper way to play it is to not rely on those, but if you're in a position where you have no other outs, it's like, oh, it's like a 30% chance or a 50% chance to potentially win the game rather than a 0% chance. And, you know, even though those odds aren't amazing, those are odds that you'll certainly take any day. Oh boy, okay, they actually led with Urshifu and the Bronzong. Now, I've got Moonblast, so Moonblasting into Urshifu is pretty safe. It's a question of how bulky the Urshifu is. Are you Focus Sashed here? Because if you are, obviously you could just Surging Strikes right now into me. Maybe I should have led this then. This is a nice lead by them. I said Entei was the most important Pokemon in this matchup. Now, what's interesting is they dropped one of their fire types. Fights against its Volk? This could be a weakness policy stuff on their end. I think I'm going to just Moonblast Urshifu here. Pains me to switch into Kyurem, but I don't want to give up Entei. The thing is, like, there's definitely a chance they're not sashed, right? If they're not sashed, we could have just gone Moonblast and Sacred Fire. But I think I need to respect it. Oh, there's Scarf. I think that's okay, though. Oh, but they target Ninetales. That did 46, so we can survive. Yeah, okay, cool. We can survive here. Nice. So, nice read on their end. They anticipated that. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they still click Trick Room here, which would be a fantastic play on their end. Okay, nice. Scarf Water Urshifu is decently common. I mean, you'll see that. Mystic Water. Yeah, and they Trick Room. That was a really, really good turn 1 by them. Because, like, they anticipated me to knock out the Urshifu, so they got a ton of free damage off and got a KO on the switch out, right? So, like, I kind of think this is Bulldoze with the Zekrom right now. And if so, that's really bad for us. Because you can just Bulldoze and a Dragon Claw into Kyurem. And we definitely don't have the best Trick Room matchup. My answer into this would have been Urshifu. Urshifu Ninetales as a lead. But, yeah, I was thinking they'd go the slightly faster mode. And they played... It was so smart. I should have tried to deny Trick Room harder. Anyway, I'm going to double protect this first turn just to see what they go for. But... if it is Trick Room like I suspect it is, with Bulldoze, this is probably game over, honestly. But it's never over until it's actually over, so we'll still play it out. But yeah, this is really cool. They just go for Iron Defense. Okay. T-Bolt. Now they can Body Press. Yeah, they've definitely outplayed me both of the first 2 turns of this game. T-Bolt is interesting, though. Okay. I think we can take a body press, but we can't take 2 attacks. I think I'm going to stay in with both Pokemon here. I'm just going to double Blizzard here. Yep, there's body press now. There's target on a Kyurem. We survive. Okay, clutch. They're going to T-Bolt into the Ninetales, so they didn't double up, meaning I actually get a Blizzard off here, which is absolutely huge. So that should KO the Zekrom. Nice. Now I'm thinking their last one is going to be Incin, right? That would make the most sense. We still have one more turn with Kyurem-W, which is really nice. Wasn't expecting to get that attack off, but that gives us an out. Yeah, I think we go into Entei here. We can then protect. We can't protect it, but then once Urshifu comes out, we can protect and then Wicked Blow, which ignores the crit. And it's Volcarona. If we hit Stone Edge here, I actually think we just win the game. But assuming, I mean, Entei's slow here, so we should outspeed it. 2 turns of Trick Room. So I'm just gonna Stone Edge. Do I want to protect here is the question. Because I actually see value. No, is there value in Earth Powering? What's the worst case here? If for me to see from my opponent, it would be Volcarona Protect. Even at +4 though, I don't think a body press KOs this thing. So it's mainly contingent off hitting a Stone Edge. I think I'm fine going for Stone Edge Earth Power here. Okay, Volk does protect. Oh, it's 2+2 body presses KOing Entei. It doesn't. Okay. Okay, so Stone Edge is not going to hit the Volk. That's fine. And we'll get Earth Power. I don't think this KOs. Oh my goodness. Sweet. That should just win us the game, right? Because now we have 2 Pokemon that outspeed Volcarona. You can't protect in front of Wicked Blow. And I am faster than you with Entei under Trick Room. I guess the thing is actually whether or not I want to click Stone Edge and rather go for like a Crunch or an E-Speed instead. Volk shouldn't really have any damage into Entei, TBH. And it's the last turn of Hail, so I actually prefer to not rely on hitting Stone Edge right now. I don't want to risk missing here. And Crunch is fine because it can also get us a defense drop on him. Like, yeah, I'm fine just going Wicked Blow here, especially because we're very bulky on Urshifu. Maybe this punishes... Oh, they actually just forfeit. Yeah, I didn't really want to rely on hitting a Stone Edge there. Alright, next one here, and it's a Kyogre team, but with some really interesting support. Ferrothorn, Mienshao, Volt, Gengar. Scarfalecki is huge here because it outspeeds Kyogre even if you have Tailwind up. If you're Scarf and you have Tailwind up, though, then no. This support is really interesting. Gengar, Mienshao, Volt, Ferrothorn. It's really cool. Huh. Tornogre as the lead from my opponent is what we should anticipate. I mean, Kyurem has a really good matchup in the Kyogre. So, like, I could just go Kyurem-W here. Ninetales Entei. Entei's very good against everything that's not Kyogre, and it also gives me a Ferrothorn answer. My Ferrothorn's so interesting here, but, like, it still honestly takes a decent amount of damage from Water Spout. And they have Mienshao. I could see them going Mienshao Kyogre as well. Oh, Mienshao Kyogre would be a really big threat, actually. I don't know. Like, you would normally think Ferrothorn, but because they have their own Ferrothorn, we don't have Body Press, they have Mienshao and Volcarona, like, all of that makes me not want to bring this. And then Urshifu is weird. It's like they have Close Combat, they have Hurricane, Kyogre's scary. Yeah, I'm just going to go with these, and we'll see how it plays out. The main thing here is that they're just really fast-paced and offensive, and the team we're using is designed to be fast-paced and offensive as well, but I fear that my opponent is too fast-paced, and so, like, Ferrothorn's a Pokemon that kind of thrives when your opponent can't just, like, chunk it for damage, right? But here they have so much good offense. Yeah, it's going to be Mienshao and Tornadus, okay? So, not terrible for Alecki. Kyurem obviously is very scared of a close combat here, and it's a free Tailwind for my opponent. The thing here is you could so easily Tailwind and then close combat Alecki. With Choice Scarf, do we outspeed Mienshao under Tailwind? Or yeah, we should, right? I could Electro Web Blizzard. I know that seems wild, but it would just be a double KO if we hit with Blizzard. I'm actually down for that. This isn't the most consistent play, but like with us having Choice Scarf, okay, they just go for Fake Out. Yeah, that's fine. And Tailwind, presumably. Yeah, so here's the interesting thing, right? Like, Alecki will still outspeed you, so if we connect on Blizzard on either here, it's not a bad start. Mienshao avoids, but it hits Tornadus. Okay. Fine with me. And it gets the one-hit KO. The idea there was, like, there's a small chance that my opponent just clicks Tailwind Close Combat. I don't like switching either Pokemon out there, because let's say they actually click Tailwind Close Combat. If I switch out the wrong Pokemon, they just Close Combat the other one. It's actually really bad for us, right? Bring in Volk. Okay, that's really interesting. So they're respecting Choice Scarf on this, which is smart on their end, right? Now, I'm still going to outspeed with Alecki. I have to respect Close Combat from their end. I've got Entei in the back, which is mainly what I'm trying to position myself to get a free switch in into. This thing could totally Quiver Dance on me as well, which is scary. I'm nervous about Volt switching into Entei, because Entei, if it gets hit by Close Combat, that's really bad for us, right? I don't know. This turn was questionable. I went for Electro Web and Earth Power into the Mienshao. Yeah, so we are faster. Like, that's the nice thing about Scarf Alecki on this team, right? But Kyurem's still going to get outsped, so if they just launch Close Combat into that slot, it's obviously not great. But they don't, yeah. They target the Alecki. Okay, perfect. I mean, this was such a scary game. It felt so volatile, and it's still not over by any means, but that turn went as well as possible, I would say. Regardless of what Volk does here. It is going to be Quiver Dance. Okay. Now, Quiver Dance is fine because we have Entei in the late game against this. And I get Weather Control now by bringing in Ninetales. The only problem is that you're still outspeeding my Kyurem, even after Tailwind's over, because you basically neutralize my speed drop. I didn't really see how else to play that turn. I think we have to bring in Ninetales, right? Because if you're my opponent, you just bring in Kyogre right now, and even if I bring in Entei and change the weather, you still have Tailwind and Water Spout. Yeah, so I can't get away with that. The win con right now, ideally, is to knock out Kyogre. Also comes down to Volcarona's moves, like, do you have Rage Powder or not? Okay, so we changed the weather. Like, this was just such a fast-paced offensive game, right? Because both of our teams are relatively fragile. 5 turns of Hail, obviously. 2 turns of Tailwind. I have to be very careful about, like, double protecting in this game, too. I mean, you could just Heat Wave Water Spout or Quiver Dance Water Spout. It's the threat of... Yeah, I honestly still favor their position. It's also a question of whether or not you're running Heat Wave. I think I have to protect here just because I have that Entei in the back. This is a position where it's like Sheer Cold would just win us the game immediately if we hit it. So I'm going to go for it, but yeah, this is one in which, like... I mean, let's say we had Aurora Veil, I literally would have no other play. I'd Moonblast, probably. Kyogre outspeeds Volk there, so either the Volk's slow, which would make some sense, or Kyogre's Scarfed, which is, I think, the more likely possibility here. They go for Struggle Bug. Yeah. I guess did I need a double protect there then? I don't think there's really an out here then. They maintained the Kyogre super well. Unless Kyurem's like bulky enough here to take a hit. Because I can extreme speed into Kyogre to reduce its damage. The fear there is if I double protect and Volk just greeds another Quiver Dance, I think I just lose. But maybe I needed to, because now the issue is that my Entei just got forced in. Could go for a double, but I don't think really that makes much of a difference. Okay, I am going to go E-Speed and Freeze Dry and hope to KO Kyogre. If we can KO Kyogre, then Entei maybe can win the end game against the Volcarona if we survive a Water Spout. That's a lot of good damage. Like, I actually think we take Water Spout with the AV here. Oh, we take that very well. Okay, can Volk KO Kyurem? Here's the question now. It's +1 Flamethrower, so probably. Let me see. No way! What? This team has literally been so clutch for us. Between hitting Sheer Cold in game 1 and then Kyurem surviving on 1 HP in this one. Are you kidding me? I mean, the game's still not won yet, but we're AV. The question here is, can I 2-hit KO Volk with, like, Crunch or double E-Speed? Because I really hate relying on Stone Edge. I'm not sure. I'm really, really not sure. I could also Sacred Fire, right? It's like, I would think Sacred Fire into E-Speed's a KO, but I'm nervous about Volcarona being buried here. Can I deduce what item it is? It's an 80% chance to win the game outright. Alright, I'm just gonna Stone Edge here. I don't know. Volk's, like, defense is not very good. Wow. That's, you know, that makes a lot of sense. But we hit Stone Edge. I need a break. we definitely had a good amount of fortune, right, today. I mean, I don't know what the damage roll is on Kyurem. Like, maybe it actually could just survive that all the time, but 1 HP is literally the clutchest survival possible. That game was just so scary because they had so much offense. They had Tailwind and they had the Mienshao. We don't really have good resist to the close combat. I think we brought all the right Pokemon at the end of the day, but that was wild. This team was so fun. Like, we ended up, going 7-0 with it, basically, and I honestly did not expect that when I picked up the team, and that gets us into, like, what, top 25, probably? Which is absolutely wild. Yeah, between this and the last couple of teams we featured, like, it's just been a nice string of games, honestly, in general, so, yeah, I've had a lot of fun with it. Wow. I actually didn't realize how fast-paced those last couple of games were, so I decided I'd play a 4th one today. So we'll see if we can end with a final win here. But either way, this team has been an absolute blast, and, you know, on Road to Ranked, I always like to feature a mix of teams that are really, you know, just generally strong, teams that I think are very consistent, just the best ones in the format, as well as teams that are generally fun, and ideally, you know, the fun teams are ones that can also get you good wins, and this team has certainly been one that's a little bit of both, which is awesome. Not a little bit of both, a lot of both. So, it's a Kyogre team once more. Got Thundurus-T. This reminds me of the Kyogre team we just featured, but they have Togedemaru, which is cool. That's actually a really big issue. Like, they have Togedemaru and Thundurus, which makes Aleki's life a lot more difficult. If I'm my opponent, I'm leading at least one of those two. Maybe even both. Kyurem's good. Honestly, Entei for E-Speed alone was pretty valuable for us in that last game, but this is actually a game where I think Ferrothorn can come out in. I feel like we've shown off most of the fun things about this team, but Quick Claw Ferrothorn hasn't activated yet. So, could be really interesting, especially because they have Tsareena. I actually think Entei, like Ferro, maybe is worth it. Okay, I'm down for Kyurem-W. Ferrothorn also gives me a more defensive switch-in this one. The reason we didn't bring Ferrothorn in the last one was just because they had so much offense outside of the, like, the Kyogre into Ferrothorn. And Kyogre itself is already scary because a full power Water Spout will demolish you. But, like, they also had Mienshao, they had Volcarona, and they brought both of those, right? So it's like, they clearly brought as much anti-Ferrothorn as possible. That's going to be Thundurus and Tornadus, okay. That's fine by me. This is actually absolutely amazing for Kyurem. Yeah, this is not bad at all. So, I could switch into Ninetales and just Blizzard. But if you're faster, my Aleki's always faster here, so it's always going to switch out first. I think I like Blizzard and Volt Switch here. I probably should Freeze Dry, honestly, instead. Yeah, just because I could see Tornadus switching out into Togedemaru, potentially. And Volt Switch also covers for Kyogre switching on my opponent's end. They just Tailwind. Alright, that works for me. So we should still be faster with the Lecky here. Scarf Lecky is so important against these Tailwind teams. I would just hard lose otherwise. Okay, I thought that was a weakness policy for a second. I was like, what? Unfortunately, we don't get the KO there, but that's fine. You have to be very careful about who you switch into here. Like, I don't think you can actually risk switching in Kyogre, but they do. It's very unfortunate I did not double up on that spot. That would have probably just been an insta-win. Still fine. Wait, does this mean Lecky stays in, actually? I haven't seen this interaction in so long. It does! Okay. That's very interesting. Yeah, and they're AV on Thundurus as well. So then the question is, are you Choice Scarf Kyogre? Either way, I think I have to protect here. And switch. This is what I mean though, right? Like, this Ferrothorn's gonna get 2-shot probably. I could change the weather immediately right now. But I have Sash on this. But the thing is, like, is Ninetales ever actually getting an attack off in this game? Probably not. So here it's honestly worth it maybe to just double switch. Straight up. Because then Ferrothorn at least takes Water Spell, but it's in Hail. Clutch survivals, but I can't complain. I just won that last game off 1 HP. Okay. And this is where we give Quick Claw Ferrothorn an opportunity to succeed. The big question I still have is the item on Kyogre. Are you Choice Scarfed or not? Because if you're not Scarfed, I actually don't necessarily need to... Like, Lecky can actually be pretty interesting. The other thing about changing the weather is now Thundurus faints in 2 turns, right? Guaranteed. Unless you switch Kyogre out this turn and then bring it back in. Or you switch Thundurus out to conserve it for a turn. That's going to be Weather Ball. Onto the Pharaoh slot. Okay, that's fine. Maybe that's not fine. That was a lot of damage. Kyogre's not Scarfed though, which is really good to confirm. Okay. Wow, the eject button is so interesting. That's such a good item on Kyogre because, sorry, on Tornadus. Oh, I think Thundurus actually survives from 1 more turn of Hail. Because the issue with eject button, or the issue with Tornadus is often it's kind of just a sitting duck after turn 1 of the game. But now my opponent gets to conserve and like potentially even get another Tailwind up. So if there's any time we can get a miracle Quick Claw activation, it's here. But I'm just gonna protect and Power Whip. Okay, they switch Thundurus out, which I'm fine with, into their 4th Pokemon, which is Togedemaru. Yep, that makes sense. We're gonna protect here. Let's see, Ferrothorn. Oh, no, doesn't Quick Claw activate before the turn even starts? Yeah, so hyped it up, but unfortunately it wasn't enough in the end. Entei actually may have been the right answer then, just for an E-Speed into Kyogre to reduce Water Spout damage output, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Kyurem now is in an okay position. I think, yeah. The clutch survivals on both Pokemon should allow them to win, and I could have Volt Switched and Freeze Dried into the Tornadus turn 1. But Tornadus protecting there definitely feels like a possibility. Them having dual, like Togedemaru and Thundurus makes Scarf Lecky's life a lot more difficult as well. But I think they executed this game really nice, honestly. I'm actually thinking... No, I think I should just protect here. I should just play it safe. Ninetales is not giving us any value here after this turn anyway, so I'm down to just sacrifice it here, and if for some reason they end up not targeting it at all, we go out with a bang. But it should be Iron Head into Water Spout here, right? Yeah. This, like, it's, you know, turn 1, the thing is I could have gone Zap Cannon. I also could have got, like I said, double up onto Tornadus. I could have clicked Blizzard as well. That would have knocked out Thundurus-T. AV does feel like the most common item on Thundurus-T right now. Tone Peter's out. It's just Lecky is completely walled by... Like, in fact, actually, what they can do here is just switch out Kyogre. Oh, not necessarily, actually. Hold on. There is still definitely a path to victory here. Because the Lecky outspeeds everything. No, but them conserving Thundurus-T and Thundurus having just a sliver of HP, I think will be enough for them to win this one. I need to lock myself into Electro Web with the Lecky, I think. I have no other option for that. And I need to KO Toad. The question is, is it worth Blizzarding here instead of Earth Powering? I mean, 2 Iron Heads will KO me, right? But they might just stay in with Kyogre. I'm going for Earth Power. They could even switch Kyogre out into... Oh, is that Thundurus? That's where... Wow, the Blizzard play I was thinking of actually would have worked there. It would have been really close. Wow, that was... Yeah, they just outplayed me in this one. Like, no shame in that. If we survive an attack from Kyogre, maybe there's still a shot. Blizzard wouldn't have KO'd Kyogre there anyway. I would have needed to click Freeze Dry onto that slot, but I thought the switch was going the other way around. They do Water Spout, though, so we should actually survive this. Not by much, though. But we'll still faint one on Lucky. This was a really close game. I feel like the margins were so razor thin in this, but that's how the matchup plays out. Ferrothorn was fun for the Quick Claw potential and the switch in. Weather Ball was pretty predictable there as well, so I needed to switch the other way around in that in this one. Anyway, we had Entei and Urshifu in the back. I don't think Urshifu offers us much. It is bulky, but it still faints a Water Spout. Entei actually might be a good decision because it's like very unlikely they don't bring... Like, it's very likely they bring Thundurus, Tornadus, and... like, basically the 4 Pokemon they brought are probably the 4 most obvious ones. And Entei is actually really good into all but Kyogre, and even into Kyogre, a single E-Speed is pretty valuable. So, I thought there was more room for Ferrothorn in this one, just as a defensive switch in, and to potentially Power Whip into Kyogre, but in the end, the answer was probably still Entei. And, like, I mentioned Tsareena in Team Preview, but I don't think I actually need to be that scared of Tsareena, because, like, are you really going to bring Tsareena into a team that has Ninetales, Kyurem, and Entei? Probably not, right? So, yeah. I... got one up on Team Preview. The lead looked really good. It was them having Eject Button Tornadus like caught me off guard, and us just missing out the knockout on both Pokemon on turn 1. But I don't think I'm ever clicking Zap Cannon on turn 1 there. I'm always Volt switching to the Tornadus just because Zap Cannon is so unreliable. And if they're not Eject Button there, that turn actually goes really well for us because then you're stuck in with Tornadus and Thundurus for the first turn of Tail, or the second turn of Tailwind. And if you don't get that free switching into Kyogre, you don't pressure me with Water Spout immediately. So I love seeing Eject Button there. It's not an item that you see very frequently, but it makes so much sense there. And to have enough bulk to take a hit and get the free switch into Kyogre is so big. And as you've seen, we just used a Kyogre team, you know, the ranked number 2 Kyogre team from last season. Like, so much about Kyogre is just getting a single Water Spout off. Ferrothorn, even though it can be a decent switch in, still took like 30-40%. You combine that with the Weather Ball, and we just fainted in 2 turns anyway, right? So, Eject Button was really cool there. I'm honestly okay about how we played it. If I went Freeze Dry into Kyogre there, we'd at least would have knocked that out. So then they would bring in... The thing is, I keep healing up the Thundurus, but then they wouldn't have that much damage. But the thing is, my Lecky is never winning against either Thundurus or Togedemaru. Oh, but if I click Blizzard there, then their Kyogre would have taken more damage, meaning that Water Spout wouldn't have KO'd us. So maybe Web plus Blizzard was the play. But yeah, they heavily outplayed me in that one, honestly, and their team was really neat as well. So kudos to them. Anyway, you can't win all of them, but we were bound to get a loss eventually, and I think this one is not one that I'm sad about just because I think my opponent played really well. They brought all the right Pokemon. They had good execution, and, like, you know, it easily could have gone either way with one big read, for example. And so, yeah, like, it's definitely a really interesting matchup, and having Thundurus-T and Togedemaru obviously makes Scarfalecki's life a little bit more difficult. Less so because of the electric, like, immunity, but more so because they can heal, or Thundurus can heal, and, you know, that just completely... like, I can't hit either of those Pokemon for any damage, right? But that's why they're really good partners for Kyogre. So, yeah. That's going to be it for this one. Thanks so much, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed, please share, support, by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And, yeah, don't forget to answer the question of the day, and see you all soon. All right. Peace.